The first time I performed this song, I always talk in stories, but the first time I performed this song, it was in a group of probably like 500-600 people. And when I performed it, I told the story first. And after I finished the song, some people came up to me. They're like, that was amazing. I'm really glad that you shared that story, and I'm really glad it wasn't slow. I thought this was going to be a slow, heart-wrenching song, but it was fire. Like, I was able to groove to this, and they're like, it made the message even that much more impactful because I want to listen to it again, and I can process it. It allows me to be able to process it. And it's like, I think that's part of the beauty of doing things like this in songs and in videos and in mediums of art, because it can allow people to process it in a way when they're ready and how they're ready. It's like, so I can keep taking in this message over and over again. And then when I'm ready to cry to this, I can sit and cry with this. And I don't have to be in that space to do that. I'm heavily influenced by T-Pain for sure. And I was loving like a couple of T-Pain songs off of that old Epiphany album. And I loved how they just vibed. And T-Pain can talk about anything, and it's always a vibe. And I was like, man, I need this to be a vibe. This can't be sad.
It's one of those songs that, like, it takes me back to, like, stuff that the girls and I went through. But at the same time, it gives me, a better idea of, like, what they need or felt. And kind of takes me out of it, like...
Because I had a similar story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, like, you know, knowing, I mean, for one, verse 2, like, I can, like, picture that happening because similar things happened with us. And so, like, very similar, right? And so, like, when I read that, I'm like, dang, like, I picture that and it takes me back to that. But, like, hearing the whole song, right? Like, it makes that feel not about me anymore. Because, like, at the time, I mean, I was always looking out for the girls. Like, I was,
of course.
Like,
yeah, of course.
I was always worried about them. I was always trying to do what I thought was best for them. But I also didn't grow up in a split family. I didn't grow up with, you know, these types of issues. And so I didn't realize really what it was doing to them, like really the impact it had on their lives. I thought I knew best. I thought, you know, like, just, and I'm not saying I know now what was right or what was wrong, but like, this just gave me your perspective now as like a grown adult who went through similar things as the girls, and seeing that, like, there's still also, like, you still need your dad, like, you know, like, you have done perfectly fine, but like, there's still that wound, like, you still need your dad. And on another note, like, this song also just reminds me of all the times where you would be going through something with him, or, you know, something would come up, and how angry I would feel, because I'm like, ugh, like seeing the hurt when I'm not, it's not, I have no control over it. It's not nothing about me, right? So it's like, I see this type, and obviously it wasn't like violence and stuff at this point, but it was like, I see the broken promises and stuff that are still affecting you. And it was just like, it just made me so angry. And like, but I also was able to, like, okay, like, he's forgiving his dad. He's giving him chances. Like, why on earth should I not, you know, like,
that's so wild to me. Like, just the overlapping stories. Like, that's always been amazing to me. And I just feel like God is just an amazing storyteller of just that I had a similar past to what the girls had. So, we talked earlier about the adoption, right? When you were like, I want you to adopt the girls. And it's like, I could feel the anger in your voice. And I knew that there was more to it than like protecting them from their dad or keeping them away from their dad. I knew there was more to it than that, but I could feel that was also a part of it. And it was like, I cannot be a part of separating them from their biological father because I'm still wounded from being separated from my biological father. And unlike my biological father, their biological father is here. I wouldn't say present. I would not use the word present. I wouldn't use the word present. I wouldn't use, at the time, I wouldn't say that he was fit to be around them. He was not ready. And I can say that because now he's in a place where he is. He's with, at the time of this recording, he's with them right now. And so I just thank God for all the work he's done in his heart and all the hard work that he's done to get to this place and like all of that. But regardless of those things, it's like their dad was, there was a chance. But my dad was always gone. There was almost no chance. I had no kind of contact with him, no way. And now as an adult, knowing that like, there's a way for this possibly to be reconciled. I'm like, there's no way I can be a part of shutting that door. I can't. I know how hurtful this is, how harmful this is. And over time, as you and I had more conversations and it was like, dang, it's kind of like, what's going on with them because you've been through it. But then it's like, from the other side, like I always felt like too, my perspective is also going to be a bit skewed because I want this to work out because I wanted it to work out from my father. And so I had to always kind of keep myself in check too of one, they're not my kids. They're not my kids. Especially at that point, we were getting ready to get married. We weren't married yet, right? When you first brought that up. So I'm like, they're not my kids in any way, shape, or form. And so I have to allow you, their mom, to do what's best for them because they're your kids. And then for two, it's like, all right, also, I don't know all that happened. Now, I didn't even learn all of what happened between you and him until I think we were married. Or like right before we got married. Like
a little while after we were married, actually.
Yeah, after we were married. So it's like I didn't even know what all had gone on. And in some ways, emotionally, I didn't care. Like it's like, man, that's terrible for you, and it doesn't change that he's their dad, and that this hurts them for him not to be here. If he can be here, that's the best thing. And so it's like that made that whole thing hard for me. But the fact that we had those overlapping stories and we had different places, and you had a similar position to my mom, like, and it was like it was so weird, but it allowed us to have so much perspective. Like being able to share those stories and you being able to have this in common with my mom to talk to her about, and me being able to talk to the kids and to see some of the things they're going through, and like, man, maybe some of the stuff they're probably not saying, I can relate to, I can feel, and it causing me to open up to them and to be able to share some of my stories with them. It was surreal. It was surreal, to use their dad's words. It was surreal, So the first verse, I'm talking about us, right? And I don't know how I got there, but I was in a really dark place. I was in a really, really dark place at that time.
Is this when we were in the apartments? I'm trying to remember. Okay.
So I walked out for probably like an hour or two.
I do remember.
And came back, and you were like, what is going, like where have you been? Like, what is happening? And I'm like, yeah, I feel better now. Like, I met some guy, he's homeless, he's from Colorado, and I'm telling you this story. You're like, what? Of course, at that time, I didn't know how you felt about me. I didn't know that you were afraid of me leaving. That I didn't know that you weren't locked in for me. I'm locked in with you. I told you I'll be with you forever. I ain't going nowhere. And you're like, I'm not so sure. And then I get angry about something. You tell me like, hey, why are you so angry? Maybe you should calm down. Like, I don't know that this is healthy for you. And I get mad at you and I walk away and I just walk out for hours. Without saying anything, I just get up and walk out the house for hours without understanding at all how that might impact you. Because I was just thinking about me. Like, this is what I do to process. I'm out. I'll be back. Well, I think I said I'll be back. Like, I'll be back. I told you I'd be back. And I'm like, that should have made everything okay, right? Like, I told you I'd be back. But it's like, I wasn't thinking about you. I was thinking about me. And processing. And it's like, after Legacy was born, I start thinking about, or this is when she's about to be born that I write this. And I start thinking about the similarities between what happened with my dad and me, and how what my dad did to my mom was abuse, physically and otherwise, but also how what I did to you was abuse. It was emotional abuse. And it's like, where did I get this trait from? Where did I get this trait from to walk away? It's like, I still in my head to this day can picture my dad hitting my mom with that Bible, the pepper spray, having to choose between my mom and my dad. I still remember all of that vividly. And I still remember looking out the back of the window as we drove away on 15th and Adams, my dad walking to what it became Moe's Express, walking to that gas station. But like, emotionally, it's just like, dang, how much am I like my father? How much am I actually like my father? And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Like, I don't know. But I know I want to do some things different. And even though I haven't done the things that he's done, some things I've done have been the same. And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. And so, in a way, it's like a letter to myself to like, I need to fix some of this. And it's cool to me that even though for me this is, man, there's some stuff I gotta heal from, some stuff I gotta work through. When you hear this song, it helps you to process things in a different way. To me, that's really cool.